assign blame to a particular group.
Because of the focus on the pandemic, a lot of people get so anxious and they have to point their fingers at somewhere or some people. So I think that's the main part, is that people have that anxiety that they need to vent.
Echoing their sentiments, really, when it comes down to issues that occur that happen to tangentially relate to Asia in general. Unfortunately, there's an unfortunate truth that a lot of Americans in general don't understand the differences and can distinguish between Chinese versus Vietnamese, Korean, Thai, or Lao. And so simply by looking like this, we become a broad target through no fault of ours.
Yeah. And you're and so you have this restaurant, you have the customer service, all day long, 7 days a week. And so it puts you in a direct position to interact with people and perhaps hear misguided racist myths, the stereotypes, because of the nature of your business in a restaurant.
Absolutely. There's a component of, as customer service providers, kind of going along to get along. A customer may come in and have a faux accent just to place an order, and we kind of have to just laugh it off just to complete the transaction. But obviously, deep down inside, that definitely affects you, definitely eats away at you.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because to transition to Justin, we talked about what you call microaggressions. We all have seen nationally the blatant acts, the violence, the attacks. There's no disputing that. But there are subtle things that happen, but those are often long-lasting. They have an impact. They're also painful. And so, Justin, talk about what that does to the mindset, to people walking around, how that causes some trauma, whether you've experienced it or not, as you fear experiencing something.
Yeah, like Sonia said, that was a perfect example of a microaggression that happens, and those microaggressions add up, and a lot of times, myself included, living life, sometimes we ignore them, and those things don't go anywhere, they stay in there. So eventually it could cause feelings of anxiety, like Janet was saying, or feelings of depression. And I think those microaggressions also fuel stereotypes and bias, like harmful stereotypes and biases that lead to those, to the pointing the finger and the blame and things like that.
We should point out, this is before the pandemic. This is long before the pandemic, something that you just mentioned, go along to get along. It's something, you and I are an African American community, so we understand that too. This is, to make that point, this is something long before the pandemic started.
Yes. It has been going on, and then like Janet was saying, it's coming to a head now, just because it is circling back, and there hasn't been a huge increase, and when we're pointing the finger with the blame, this is the most damaging type of blame. It's like Dr. Chang was saying, it's not like an individual person did an individual act. We're pointing the finger as a group of people there's something wrong with them, or they're bad, and that breeds feelings of shame, and it is damaging.
Absolutely. And Dr. Chang, to come back to you, we're all thankful for your work, your medical knowledge and the expertise you've been lending to us over the past year here in the Tampa Bay community. But can you talk a little bit about the focus on China?
Yeah, I think the thing is that we see these viruses come out from different places, and this particular virus came out from China. In the virology community, we've started becoming a little bit more cognizant about we used to name viruses after the place that they were derived from. So we have things like Ebola virus, right? Because it came from the Ebola River. But since these viruses have come out, we're more cognizant that this naming procedure assigns blame in some people's, whether it's conscious or unconscious. So we've specifically tried to avoid that from now. So in the virology community, we try to do this, but when we have people on TV telling us this is the Wuhan virus or the China virus, it's easy to start getting that blame. That's why we always use these kind of numbers and letters, which are confusing sometimes, but it's really much more accurate to say this is for example, the B.1.1.7 variant, because it was first detected in the UK, but it's not the UK's fault that it's out. It just happened to be from the UK.
Thank you all. This has been a great conversation so far. There's so much more knowledge and insight